Hello again. This is Gary with Colorado Avid Cyclist for our weekly podcast entitled Pedal Talk. This week, I am really thrilled to have a gentleman, Scott Olmsted, with us. He is the co-founder of the Ride Collective. They have, and he's going to talk to you about it. They've got quite a few events, three of which are my favorites in Colorado, which include the Copper Tri, the Tour of the Moon, and then the Tour of the Vineyards, which, as we all know, is all about wine. And just to be transparent, I'm really excited about him being here because we've got a dog in the fight on this one. Those are my three favorite rides in Colorado. I love them. And second, we are one of the sponsors of all three of those events. So we're going to be there and having fun and just enjoying those epic events. So with no further ado, let me introduce Scott Olmsted. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Gary. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. So tell me a little bit. Go ahead. No.
And I was also going to say thank you for supporting us this year. We're excited to have you at all those events.
Yeah, I'm psyched. I'm psyched. My wife is psyched. I get to ride, then I get to be, have a table there, whatever, or tent, and she gets to go hiking everywhere too. So it's just going to be fun weeks.
Great.
So tell us a little bit about it. I know it's under the Ride Collective now. What are the history of these rides?
Yeah, so the Ride Collective, just to give everyone, your listeners, an overview of just who we are. The Ride Collective, we are a for-profit company, and we have a portfolio of professionally produced cycling events here in Colorado and New Mexico, for that matter. And they vary, the venues and courses vary from the Rocky Mountains to the high deserts. And we try to be an inclusive, we try to bring everyone to all of the events, any abilities. They range in terms of mileage, but we try to give everyone an opportunity to come check them out and partake. The history of the events. So our current portfolio right now, we have 4 events. We have the Copper Triangle. We have an event down in New Mexico called the Enchanted Circle. And then, like you said, we have Tour of the Moon and Tour de Vineyards that kind of finish out in the fall. Copper Triangle is kind of our bread and butter a little bit. That event started in 2006, and I was working for a gentleman at the time. His name was Scott Harris, and Scott and I started that event in 2006, and we were kind of growing the portfolio of events back then as well. And it's just been a great staple for Colorado, and I would think it's probably Colorado's favorite ride. And that event has grown. Obviously with COVID a little bit, we've kind of dipped down in terms of numbers. But it's been a really good, fun, event to the calendar in the summer, and people always enjoy it. We've always worked with the Davis Finney Foundation since day one, and we always enjoy having them out there and supporting their cause and what they do for Parkinson's and people with Parkinson's. And it's always a good challenge for people to come and partake in. Enchanted Circle is relatively new for us. We took that over in 2021, it's I don't know if you've ever been down there, Gary, but it's beautiful down near Taos and Red River and Cuesta and Angel Fire. That area of northern New Mexico is just beautiful. A lot of people don't know about it, and it's a hidden gem, in my opinion.
I agree.
And so that event's been going on, I believe, close to 50 years. And they've had some trouble with it down there. And, it used to be run by the Chamber of Red River. It takes place and starts and finishes in Red River, New Mexico. And they were just having a little hard time of getting cyclists down there. And I think when we took it over, it was around 70 people. And the last few years, we've kind of got it up over 500. So that's a really good event. Moving on down the calendar of events, Tour of the Moon. Tour of the Moon is by far one of my favorites too. It's just a spectacular setting that it takes place in Grand Junction and the Colorado National Monument. And we started that event in 2012. And just the history with Tour of the Moon. It's one of a kind. It's one of the premier events in the United States, with the backdrop of the national monument and just what the setting that it has. And then we finish out the year with Tour of the Vineyards, and this is going to be our 30th anniversary this year. So it's been going on for 30 years. And really, back when it started, the Palisade is a perfect setting, wine setting. It's a lot of, it's not Napa, but but for Colorado, it's a great place to go experience local wines and get to know a lot of vineyards, and they have fruit stands, and it's just an amazing place to ride your bike. And so back in the day, they have a wine fest that happens in Palisade every year, and it was a great way for people to partake in the wine fest, but also have a little bit of exercise in the morning, and then go drink your wine in the afternoon. So it's a great event for people to go have a little exercise in the morning, and then go partake in the wine fest.
Well, those are fun. I'm looking forward to the last two, especially because myself and my wife, we're planning to come out there for a Tour of the Moon and stay on the Western Slope for the entire week. And then we'll be out there, and we're going to have just a little mini tour of Utah, hit Moab, hit Arches, and just ride bikes, hike, and everything for a week, and then make it back for the Tour of the Vineyards. So it's going to be a blast.
Awesome.
Tour of the Moon has always captivated me a lot, just because of the history of that. I'm old school here, so I remember watching Greg LeMond win the first Tour de France, and then come back, and he had already ridden in the Coors Classic. But in that one, it was the big battle of him and Bernard Hinault. But that was one of the epic rides of the Coors Classic, was the Tour of the Moon. And if you want to see a clip of Kevin Costner, obviously American Flyers in that movie. But it's just an epic area.
It is.
Go ahead.
And what's so cool about it is, it looks like you're riding in the Grand Canyon, is what I always say. I mean, if it's just it's what's really cool about this event. In all of our races, or events, sorry, we don't. Our events are not races; they're just not timed, or people can ride the events at their leisure. But what I always notice at this event, everyone has their camera out. I've seen more cameras, and people stop along the way, and it's just a really fun atmosphere for people to participate in, because we have two courses. One is the standard route, which is the 41 mile, but we also have a 64 mile that heads out to Fruta and kind of checks out that area, and then heads back into Grand Junction. So we do cap that event at 2,200, and we haven't kind of reached that cap in a few years, but it seems like this year we've got a lot more interest. So I encourage everyone to come out and at least participate in that event.
Yeah, that's it is so much fun. And like I said, that is probably, of all the rides I did, I was disappointed when it was over. I wish I could have done another lap around the monument area itself. And actually, I did go up the next day and ride it again, just for fun, because it is. Yeah, I wish it was not over. It should have been a 200-mile ride, so I could have done the whole lap twice or three times. But it is absolutely gorgeous. And you're right. I've never seen so many people stop with cameras, taking pictures at multiple places along the way. It's epic. And Copper Triangle isn't that far behind that one, as far as beauty.
Nope. Copper Triangle. I will say it's probably one of the most beautiful ways to see Colorado. Just on on the road, on the specific roads that we go over, Fremont Pass, that goes over, down into Leadville. Fremont Pass is, a nice gradual climb, get you going in the morning. And then you kind of head on over to, you don't go through Leadville, but you kind of pass by it and you kind of go
Mhm.
over to Ski Cooper. Ski Cooper is just a really cool place. And then what a lot of people don't know is you travel by Camp Hale. And Camp Hale, where the Fifth Mountain Division, and where people learn to be a part in the Army and learn how to ski, is just a really cool place of history that a lot of people don't know. Um, and you can kind of ride through that section, and then obviously the big kicker is going over Vail Pass and just the history there, um, of the pro challenge and using that as a backdrop. But it's just, I think Vail Pass is the only one of a kind place that people can ride their bike, with specifically to the bike path. It's just a really cool backdrop.
That's gorgeous. And, I mentioned to you earlier before we got on, the finish to me is so much fun because it starts, finishes in the same place. And coming into the main area there in Copper, right into the quad, it is just a nonstop, almost celebration when you come in. And it's, it is so well promoted, so or produced, excuse me. And just the involvement in all the businesses there is just a blast. They just get into it and everybody is having a ball.
Yeah, no, I one story here for you, Gary, is when we first started the event, we weren't sure. I think when the first year, I think we had just over 1,200 people in the first year of the event, and people with in obviously, I think I mentioned that we work with the Davis Finney Foundation, and the history with Davis Finney. Davis Finney was yeah, a long time a medalist cyclist in the United States, and just a really famous rider back in the day. And
Mhm.
he currently has Parkinson's, and he, it's when we first started this event. There were several people that came out and used the event as a fundraiser, and they still do today. But I remember this gal. I will never forget it because she rode the whole event and she had Parkinson's, and it took her a long, long time. We typically have start times so everyone can kind of make back by a certain time, so not we're not out there all day, but and we have some cutoff times, in the afternoon. But for back then, we weren't sure how many people were going to ride it, and so we weren't sure how long they were going to be out there. Well, this gal made it back, and she did the whole thing, and she just, I mean, it was so inspiring to see her finish, and have Parkinson's, and um, just the glow that she had on her face, that she accomplished something that she ever probably felt like she never could have done, was just so super cool. And it just was one of those things where made you think like, wow, like, we're actually doing something really cool out here, and it makes you feel good.
And the Davis Finney Foundation, that's the beneficiary of the Copper Tribe. What are the charities involved with the other two?
Yeah, so we try to, with the Ride Collective, we try to give back. Because obviously we're coming into these communities and we want to make sure that we work with beneficiaries, but we also work with local nonprofits to help make the event happen and give back to the communities that we're in. And so with Copper Triangle, yes, Davis Finney Foundation is our main beneficiary, but we also work with the Summit Mountain Rescue. We work with uh, Team Summit, which is a ski team, and a couple other nonprofits, the Boy Scout troop out of Summit County. So there's a multiple groups that are involved. With the other two, with Tour of the Moon, we work with Bicycle Colorado and One Riverfront as our beneficiaries, and again, we also work with the Boy Scout troop and a number of
Mhm.
great nonprofits in that area. For Tour de Vineyards, we work with this nonprofit called Cave, and they help with just the sheer fact of education and bringing attention to the wineries and keeping the wineries uh, healthy and vibrant in Palisade. And then new this year, we're working with Colorado West Land Trust, and they're also helping out with bringing some volunteers and help it make it a successful event.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're going to be. I've been talking to your group about. We're going to be giving away several entries into the rides, and we're going to be promoting that on Facebook. And that contest is going to come out probably, hopefully, within about a week.
Okay,
So we're going to be
awesome.
trying to give back a little bit, get some people some free entries, and get more interest into it. Also, we're going to be putting out a limited edition Colorado Avid Cyclist T-shirt with on the back will be the logos of all three events, and a portion of that will also be going to all three of those charities as well, designated for each of the events. So we're pretty psyched to do that because we want to make sure that we're giving back to everything we do. 10% of our gross revenues goes to Bicycle Colorado to begin with, and then we put revenues obviously in to help sponsor and promote events like yours, which we are
Yeah,
really excited.
awesome. Yep. No, we can't wait for you to get that out there and for folks to kind of gain some interest. So we're excited.
Yep. And what's future for the Ride Collective? Are you guys thinking about expanding at all, doing more events? Do you think there'll ever be more epic events like this in Colorado?
Gary, right now we're kind of seeing what the market's doing.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, events were hit hard during COVID, and we were obviously trying to navigate the best we could. The market still has a bunch of challenges, obviously with inflation and just expenses and things like that. And so, right now, I would say, Gary, we're just kind of seeing what the market's telling us.
Hmm.
So really no new events on the horizon right now, but if opportunities come along, it doesn't mean that we're going to look at them. But I would say we're just kind of uh, seeing where things are going and what people's interests are.
Okay. Now this is another one that I do have a dog in the fight just because I live here, and I promised some people I would ask. Do you think the Elephant Rock will ever come back?
Honestly, Gary, I would say the Elephant Rock, for viewers don't know, was a long-standing event that took place in Douglas County, and what made that event so epic and so awesome was just the sheer of the vast roads, just countryside roads that was easy to access to from Denver and Fort Collins and Colorado Springs from a front range standpoint. But um, the growth that Castle Rock and Douglas County has had in the last 10 years has been crazy. Um, and I would say to answer your question, I don't know. And a lot of people, the big reason that we uh, kind of said goodbye to it was um, just the sheer growth of going on in Castle Rock, and um, and just from a safety standpoint,
Sure.
was a big factor. I think the other big factor that we were really looking at was just the amount of support. It was obviously, spanned, gosh, it spanned from Douglas County to Elbert County to El Paso County, many jurisdictions, and just, sheer number of support to help out with the event
Hmm.
was getting harder and harder. Um, and so, um, if those things all align, sure, we could kind of look at that. But right now, I think everyone's kind of trying to see, come up for air. It's been kind of crazy down a little bit in Castle Rock and just the growth and COVID and everything of that nature. So it just
Mhm.
everyone's kind of coming up for air, and so we're kind of evaluating it from that standpoint.
Yeah, and I'm in the middle of that. I live in Castle Rock, so I know the growth, and it's insane. It really is how fast it's growing, and I think people don't realize that the logistics, what used to be, gosh, a mile from where you started, you didn't see a house for a good hour. And now it
Exactly.
is. And not just Castle Rock, but when you get into, like I said, Elizabeth, Albert, and you get down there, those are no longer little drive-through towns anymore.
No.
It's you're dealing with construction traffic. And the corridor all along I-25, the frontage road where Elephant Rock used to have the final leg, that's being torn up as we speak. So it is kind of crazy. So I was just curious what the long term was on that. Well,
Yeah, I mean it was and to that, Gary, like a lot of people didn't know. I mean, shoot, we had a course set, we have everything ready to go, and then obviously construction happened, and we had to maneuver a lot, and it's wasn't easy, from that standpoint to come up with new routes, a month or so before, and so just a lot of different challenges made us kind of come up with that conclusion.
yeah, and I think anybody that really knows the area can totally respect that.
Yeah,
Well, I'm excited for all the events this summer. I'm set. I'm training as we speak, getting ready to go for another ride in a couple hours, but I'm excited to be
awesome.
part of them. I'm excited to pedal in them, and I'm excited to support them. So really looking forward to this year and everything that's got coming with the Ride Collective.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I was just a couple other things I wanted to mention that a
Sure.
lot of people may not know is we do offer a youth program.
Okay.
We do offer 16 and under can ride for free. We want to get our youth out there and riding and be partaking in these events. So we do offer that, and I think it's a great way for parents and kids to get involved in something that I believe is a very safe environment, and just a welcoming environment. And so, I do think that's a great program, and obviously we're all getting a little bit older year by year, and we want our youth to be out there riding bikes, and so we believe that this is a great way to give back to our youth to enjoy the sport. Um, and then the other thing is we also do a program for teams and clubs. If you have a certain number of team members that come out and ride, we give a discount, and that can all be founded on our website at theridecollective.com.
Okay. And as soon as we're off of here, let me stick with you after the recording a little bit because I want to get the links and information about both of those programs because I will make sure that those are on our website.
Okay. Yeah.
So there'll be
Yeah.
direct information about it and links to where they need to go. Because I didn't know about the youth program. I knew about the team one, but that youth program, I think it'd be great if I can get that out there to as many people as possible through our site and our newsletter.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It just encourages, kids to come out and partake something that they could do with their parents and feel good about it and feel safe about it. I will say events are one of the best avenues for people to and you could probably speak to this to yourself, but it's a great way for people to experience the sport in a very safe and supportive manner.
Mhm.
And so, yeah,
Well, thank you very much for coming on with us, Scott.
yeah,
Really appreciate it.
um, yeah. We love to help any way we can, and like I said, we are very excited that you're on board this summer, and we can't wait to kind of be out there and get everyone to register. So.
Yep. And if there's anything else, like I said, we've got links to the events all on our site, and I will make sure the youth program is up there on our site as well.
Okay,
So
great.
take care. Have a great weekend. Enjoy this awesome weather we have coming up. It's supposed to be 77 today and almost 80 tomorrow and Sunday with no wind.
I
It
know it's a
changed.
great,
No wind.
great,
I
great
couldn't.
weekend to be out on your bike.
Yeah, I'm going up to Boulder tomorrow to ride, and I was like 4 mile an hour winds. It can't get any better than that. Okay, well, have a great one, sir.
Okay, you too. Thanks,
Thank
Gary.
you very much for coming aboard.